Alright, what is up guys? Welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna simply tell you that I want to talk about the top 3 best supports for new players in my opinion. This is gonna be a video and a guide, well, obviously a video and a guide, but this is gonna be a guide about the top 3 supports for new players. And what I mean is, this is simply gonna be what I think if you're new to the game and you want to play support. These are the 3 gods I think you should play and pick up. This means they are very easy to pick up and play, very easy to learn, and you can just go ham with them, and they're not that hard to use. And this does not mean they're bad. These supports are very good supports, and they've always been very good supports. Another thing I want to say, these are not the best supports in the game either. These are simply supports for new players, and that's it. They're not the meta or anything like that. Now, let's get right into Athena. This is Athena. This is her basic skin. Yeah, pretty cool. But we're going to start off by talking about what type of a support is Athena. What does she excel at? Now, Athena is an initiator. She's more of a aggressor, and just she's really good at setting up kills and setting up things for her team. She's not a backline support, she's more of in front of everybody, the first one to go in and set up stuff and all that good stuff and all that. And I just missed 2 fucking abilities. I look like a clown right now, but you get the idea. You don't want to be sitting back with her like some other supports. You don't want to be doing any of that. You want to be starting up, being aggressive, you know, initiating fights, getting people who are out of position, securing kills for them, setting up kills for your DPS, and all that good stuff. Now, since you know what type of support she is now, we're going to go right into her abilities. So we're going to go right into her passive, which is called Reach. And how this works is, after using an ability, Athena's next basic attack is a ranged attack, hitting all enemies it passes through, and dealing an additional 15% of her magical power as damage. Reach's damage will trigger basic attack item effects, but not ability ones. Now, at the last ending part of that, what it means by basic attack item effects but not ability ones is, let's say you have an item that affects basic attacks, which are these. That will work on your ranged attack. Now, let's say you have an item that affects your abilities, such as this, an ability. It will not work on that ranged attack. So keep that in mind if you ever build for it, which you shouldn't be doing that. But let's go right into her first ability. Now, this ability is actually really good, and you can do a lot of things with this, and it can keep you alive. So how this works is, right, and if you want to look at all the damage numbers and all that stuff right here, I'll have it pulled up. So how this ability works is when you activate it, you charge up, and while you're charging, you can't do anything. I mean, you can cancel it, but while you're charging up, you can't do anything. You have to wait for it to fully charge up, and then you can dash. When you dash, you will hit the first enemy god on contact, and you will slow them for 25% for a certain amount of duration, which is 2.25. Now, every time you use an ability, like I said, you get this ranged attack. So when you go in and you hit someone, you also get a stack. The bottom left of my screen, you'll see like a little symbol with some shields on it. Every time you use this ability and you hit something, you'll get one of those stacks. And every single one of those stacks, you'll block a basic attack. So I have 3 of those. Let me demonstrate. Alright, we have Neath here. So I have 3 of these stacks from hitting people with this ability. So I'm going to demonstrate what I mean by it blocks basic attacks. See? Absorb. What that means is, when they hit me with a basic attack, these, your regular just attack button, it absorbs them. You take no damage from it, no matter how much damage they are doing with it. So it's really good at keeping you alive. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, we're going to get straight into her second ability, which is called Confound, and it is a cone. As you can see, a cone. It's in the shape of a fucking cone. Cone. Yes, cone. Alright, now that you understand that, let's tell you what it does. So, This ability is a form of crowd control, or in other words, CC. And if you do not know what that is, because you're new to MOBAs, crowd control, or CC, is anything that affects your character's movement speed. Like just moving like this affects your character's movement. So anything from like a slow, stun, anything like that is crowd control. She has a taunt. As you can see here, Athena's releases a shockwave of power from her shield, taunting enemy gods and forcing them to fight or chase her. So basically how this works, right? You see this Odin? I'm gonna use it on him. He's forced to come at me, right? That's cool. It's awesome. That's why she's so powerful. This ability is what makes Athena so good. So good for initiating and so good for setup. Because if you catch an enemy off guard, right, during like the early to mid game phases, you can just walk right up to them and do this, and that's free setup. Like they're just sitting there, they're sitting ducks, and that's free damage on them and possibly a kill. And if they're farther away, you can just do this. It's easy. But always make sure after the ability you use your basic attack to get the maximum amount of damage. Always be doing that. And that's how that works. And you can taunt multiple people. So if you get multiple taunts, that's really good. You want to be looking out for that stuff. Now, we're going to talk about our third ability. Our third ability is very straightforward, very basic. It doesn't do anything too fancy. I'll show it to you. Just an AoE. So how it works is, has an initial damage and secondary damage. So when you place it, it does initial damage. And when it does that animation, that's the secondary damage. So, that's really it. There's nothing else. Now, time for her ultimate. Now this is also why Athena is so strong. Her ultimate allows her to have a global presence at all times, unless obviously it's on cooldown. So, this is how it works. When you activate it, you're in this state where you cannot move and you're looking around the map. And this. So when you activate it, you're stuck in place and you're looking around the map, right? And when you look at an ally, obviously, it highlights them and all that good stuff. And when you activate it again, or use your basic attack button, you teleport to them, fly to them. I don't know what the hell you do. I'm just gonna say teleport because I don't know. But basically, this, like, you know, if someone's in trouble, you can just go right to them and help them out. Now, what this thing does, what it does exactly is, when you land, like when you land on your opponent, if their enemy is around them, it will deal that much damage. On the bottom right hand of the screen, it will do damage in an AoE around you. And it also gives your allies damage mitigations. And what I mean by that is, while you're in this animation right here, your ally has damage mitigations for that long. And while you're doing that animation, there will be a glow effect around your ally as well, letting the enemy know that you're on the way. And that's it for her abilities. That's pretty very straightforward, easy to understand, all that good stuff. Let's get into how you want to level her in the early game and how you want to use her in general. So we're going to start off by her just basic combo of what you want to do. And it's this right here. Place your 3 down, activate your... I'm retarded. My bad. Let me change scenes really quick. Okay. Jesus Christ. My bad. So basically what you want to do, you want to activate your 3, then your 2. Basically what this does is, you get the initial damage, and you get the secondary damage, guaranteed. Now, never do this. What I'm about to show you, never do this. Never do that. Bad idea. Bad idea. You'll never get the secondary damage. It's not a good idea. Terrible. But every time, like, you go for a setup or initiation, always do this. So you get the max amount of damage, so you have the most chance or better chance or maximum chance of killing the enemy. Another thing, let's get into like early game duo lane, right? So when you're starting out the game, you're going to want to start with, at level 1 you're going to want to start with your dash. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to go to the behind your enemy's minion wave, and you're going to dash towards yours through all of them to do the maximum damage to them, and also to get your stacks, so you can absorb the enemy's basic attacks when you aggress onto them, and you can just have better sustain in lane. At level 2, you want to get your 3, and then at level 3, you want to get your 2. And the ability you want to max out first is going to be your 3. Second is going to be either your 2 or 1, depending on what you want to do, and just upgrade your ultimate whenever you want to. And that's Athena for you. Go in some games, play her, and just go crazy, man. Fucking get a pentakill. I don't even know. Alright, next up in line is Ganesh, coming in at number 2. Yeah, so Ganesh is a beast of a support. Great support. Great. Definitely, I think, great for new players as well. He's very simple to learn, just like Athena. Very straightforward, but he also plays different than Athena. And let's get right into it. So what type of support is Ganesh? This man is a bit more of a backline support. He peels a lot, but he can also initiate quite well. Not as good as Athena, or set up as good as Athena, but he can definitely set up. And 100% can set up, no problem. Can definitely initiate. But during team fights, you kind of want to stay back, help out, and peel for your back line. That's mainly what you want to do with Ganesha. But let's get right into his abilities and his passive. So his passive is Good Fortune. So basically how this works, right, is if you want to read it, there it is. But basically how this works is anybody around you, any ally that is near you, if you kill a minion or if you kill an enemy, they'll get the kill instead. They'll get the full reward instead of you. And that is great. That's awesome. So it's already a reason to play this man. You're giving your DPS more gold and XP over you, so they can carry and do their job even easier. Great passive. So let's get right into his first ability, and that is called Turn of Fate. Basically, it's just a line ability. Throw this out. It's a little symbol, right? So basically, right. Watch this. My man does damage. Then I get a little effect over me and a buff on above my health. So how this works is whenever you hit an enemy, it obviously does damage, but then however many enemies it hits, maximum up to 5, only gods, well, not only gods, I believe. Hold on, does it work on minions? Yeah. I'm not actually sure if it works on minions. Let's go test it out real quick. We'll see for ourselves. It does work for minions. I did not know that. Wow. We learn something new every day. So basically how it works is when you hit an enemy, it gives you and your allied gods around you pretty much more damage, percentage based, as you can see. Bonus damage per stack 2%, duration 4 seconds. So it only does to a maximum of 5. So you can't hit like 10 minions and get a fuck ton of damage. It only does up to 5 stacks. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But basically it just does damage, it gives your team and you damage buff. Now let's get into his second ability called Own. Basically it's very straightforward. He goes into the state where he can't use any other ability, and in a cone in front of him, he silences the enemy. Now, a silence is a form of crowd control, but it doesn't immobilize or affect the enemy's movement speed. It nullifies the enemy from using any of their abilities. They can't use any abilities while this is on them. None. Can't use any of them at all. And that is great, because they just can't do anything. They're just kind of staring at you. Like, man. Crazy. Well, they can still basic attack you, but if they're not a fucking carry, you don't gotta worry about it. So yeah. It does also do one more thing. While you're in this state, like in this animation, you get a certain amount of protections. Protections are basically just damage reduction. Take less damage. And there you go if you want to see the numbers for each level. Alright, let's get into the third one. I'll show it to you real quick. What's it called? Remove obstacles. Basically, you dash forward, and when you hit an enemy god, you root them in place, then knock them up. One thing that is very important in this game, knockups are the best form of crowd control. And that's all you need to know. But basically, let's look at it. It just does damage and roots people and knocks them up. Great for peeling. Ability is great for peeling. And also great for initiating. It's great for, not initiating, excuse me, but it's great for peeling and just good for setup. So if you catch an enemy god out of position, you just do this, and it could be an easy kill, or they could take a lot of damage and be forced to back and lose gold and XP. Pretty straightforward ability as well. Let's get into his ultimate. called Dharmic Pillars. I can't even fucking, okay, we're not, I don't even, I probably butchered that. But basically, I'll just show it to you really quick. This is what it looks like. It's a square. It's like an arena. You can walk through it. Pretty cool, right? But basically how this works is the outline, you saw the outline, right? When an enemy walks on that, they are slowed, they are debuffed, and they take a lot of damage. So, let's do it for example. He's slowed, took 488 damage, and his protections are also shredded, which is great. That's awesome. Because this is great for initiating, or simply just throwing down during a team fight to confuse the enemy, or it's also really good for burning down objectives such as Gold Fury and Fire Giant and Pyromancer. Because this ultimate is on a very low cooldown. Very, very, very low cooldown. And you can just use it whenever you want, willy-nilly. If you're not doing that, you're not playing Ganesha right. I'm just saying that right now. Yeah, that's his abilities. Oh wait, let me show you the stat numbers. So debuff duration for the protection, because when they run into the let me show you one more time. When they run into this, they get a debuff to their protections. There's the numbers, and there's debuff duration. Slows them by 35%, and that's the damage. So basically, right, how this, a good combo, like things that you can do with Ganesh to excel with him, or things you should be doing with Ganesh, is you pop this. We're not going to talk about that. I thought that man was going to go farther. I genuinely thought that man was going to go farther. Wow, I'm getting juked by bots now. This is what my life has came to. But basically, let's reenact this really quick. So, see that? That's a combo you typically want to do. When you throw that down, if someone runs into it, you want to root them in it so they take the maximum amount of damage, secure a kill. So, let's give you some scenarios. At level 1, like during the laning phase, you want to get, at level 1 you want to level up this ability, you want to get this ability. At level 2 you want to get this ability, at 3. And at level 3 you want to get on. And the abilities you want to max out, the ability you want to max out first is your 1, the one I just used. And the one you want to max out second is your 3. The one you want to max out third is your 2. Now obviously your ultimate, level up whenever you get the chance, and all that good stuff. Now during team fights with Ganesh, what you want to do is there's just a couple of things you can do, but typically you just kind of want to be sitting there, doing your thing, waiting for the team fight to break out. When it breaks out, you want to be watching for your backline to get dove, because you want to peel for them. When they get dove by the enemy assassin or whoever, or warrior, you want to turn around, you can just simply root them like this, silence them afterwards, and they just cannot do anything. Or you can just throw this down behind them, and it really screws their plans up. And during team fights, you also just want to be throwing these out, because damage buffs are cool. Yes. Another thing you can do if you want to initiate with Ganesh, you can just throw this down in front of everyone. Like, kind of like, let's say I'm the enemy right now. You kind of want to throw it down like this. And you kind of want the line portion where it damages you to hit them as well, so your team can go in. And after you throw that down, you kind of want to stay back and make sure they don't counter dive. So and if they do, you can simply peel for your back line. That's typically what you want to do. And yeah, that's Ganesh, man. Big elephant man, purple elephant man, with big boy damage and just annoying god, but also really, really good. So you go in there and get all them solo kills with Ganesh and disrespect your opponent. Go great. Alright, now we're up to Geb, taking the number 3 spot. So Geb is a rock. See? Geb's a fucking rock. He's not just a boulder, he's a rock. He can do that. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so what is Geb? What is he good at? What is he good at? Geb is great at everything. He's good at initiating, good at setup, good at backline peeling. He's good at everything. Good at damage. He can do everything in the game at a good level. He's an all-around support. Great man. And honestly, I recommend this guy over Athena for new players, to be honest. But then again, Athena is pretty cool and simple. But Geb has a little bit more to him to learn than Athena. But don't be a bitch. Take the harder route, because Geb is cracked. I don't care what nobody says. Look at this. Oh, I can't use it yet. Damn. Alright. But yeah, Geb is great. He can do everything. He can do a little bit of everything. Initiation, setup, peel, everything. Literally do everything. Damage is good damage. But let's get right into his abilities. So his passive is literally hard as a rock. Not anything sexual. Please don't laugh. But yeah, it makes him really tanky. Literally critical strikes, like critical strike damage, is decreased by 75%. So ADCs, like carries, you're not going to do jack shit to him. You can just sit there like, haha, I'm not dying, lol. Fuck you. It's pretty much what Geb does. So let's get into unless they have a penetration build, but that's for another video. But let's get into his first ability, which is literally called rollout. So it's very straightforward. He turns into a giant boulder and goes really, really fast. Now, a thing to keep in mind about this ability, right? While this ability is active, like when you activate this ability, it slowly speeds up, and then it gets bigger, and then it's a boulder. And you see that little yellow effect around it? That means he is CC immune. He cannot be stunned or anything or slowed anything. Cannot be affected. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Now, one thing, I'm going to give tips on this ability. I'm not going to tell you anything later. I want to go get this one out of the way. So, never use this ability to initiate on people. Don't just use this ability at people. It's a terrible idea. You typically want to use this ability to get away, or to rotate to mid lane to help out your mid laner, or to have rotate to fights, rotate to your teammates to help them out, because it gives you a movement speed buff and it gives your teammates a lot faster with this. Another way you can use it is like this, because it slows as well. It slows by 30%. After you go up to somebody, right, and you're doing this, you can just hit them with this, then hit them with that, hit one, and it slows them. It's a little combo. Now we're done with that. Let's get into his second ability called Shockwave. It's literally a gigantic cone, kind of like Athena's taunt, in front of him. You cannot miss this ability. If you miss this ability, you're trolling. So you throw this out, and when it hits them, it does a good decent amount of damage, and it knocks them up. Knockups, like I said, are amazing, and it doesn't just do it on one person. You can do it to multiple people. For example, it's pretty fucking good. Now, another thing, the farther away the ability is from the enemy, the less damage it does. But yeah, that's a great ability. Like I said, a little combo, do this, and this, knockups into a slow, great. Now we're about to get into why Geb is so good. What makes Geb so very good? You're probably wondering, and I'm wondering too. Let's talk about it. His third ability, it's a shield. Look at that shield. Now you're probably wondering, what's the difference between a shield and health? Nothing. It's literally the same thing. Except for I don't think a shield is affected by protections. I'm not 100% sure. It shouldn't be affected by protections. So that'd be dumb. But yeah, it literally just gives you more health. That's all it does. And that's a lot of health. This can save people's lives. But that's not all it does. Oh no, you thought we were done here? No. That's not all it does. It cleanses your allies from crowd control. So let's say my buddy Odin here just got stunned. While he's stunned, if I put this on him, he's no longer stunned. He's good to go. If he's slowed and I put this on him, he's no longer slowed. He's good to go. See what I'm saying? Another thing that is very important about this ability, while it's on him, if someone tries to stun him, he will still be stunned. So you can't just be like, oh man, he can't be stunned now since he has my shield. That does not work like, it does not work like that. It works like I just said. If he gets stunned, that's when you put it on him. You cleanse him and he's no longer stunned. That's how it works. It's the only way you can do it. And that's really it for that. It's pretty straightforward, and that's what makes him so good. We'll get more into it and what you can do with it later. So, let's talk about his ultimate. Now this thing is also really, really good. Like I said, this is why he has such a good initiation. Geb pulls apart. Now we're not reading it. Alright. So here's the damage. You're probably looking at it and alright, what the hell? Basically how this works is, I'm just going to tell you how it is. The more health they have, the more damage it does. We're going to just read down there. That's all I'm going to do. Make it very simple. The more health they have, more damage you're going to do. And then it stuns them in the AoE. Let me show it to you. Well, can't really show it to you when they're my allies. No, can I? let's go back over here and let me show it to you real quick. So you see these guys? Yeah, they're stunned. AoE, pretty cool. That's what it does. So what you want to do with Geb to initiate, right? What you'll typically do. So let's say, let me go reset my cooldowns really quick because I'm dumb. Alright, so let's go over here, right? Let's say these Odins way in front of me, right ahead, are the enemy team, and I'm just standing here. We're about to fight. Nobody's really doing anything. We're waiting for someone to do something. You can literally just blink in with this relic, do that, knock up, and you're good to go. That's how you initiate with Geb. That's what makes him so dangerous. He can literally do anything. You want to get blink first relic on Geb, by the way. Just letting you know that. Blink on Geb for first relic. Now, scenarios. Let's talk about him in duo lane like I have the last other guys. At level 1, you want to level up his attacking ability, the shockwave, this one right here. And that's what you want to clear the wave with. By the way, every single ability I tell you to get first is the ability you want to use to clear the wave with, by the way. Just letting y'all know that. I hope that's self-explanatory. But yeah, that's the one that's the ability you want to get at level 1. And at level 2, you're going to want to get your shield. Because, yeah, why would you get this at level 2? At level 3, you get this. Now, another thing I need to tell you about his, excuse me, what the fuck am I trying to say? Another thing I want to tell you about Geb's laning phase, his early game phase. You're going to lose lane. And you're going to lose it hard. He has terrible clear early game. Terrible, terrible, terrible clear. So just go, like I said, get this at your second, at level 2, as your second ability. Because literally what's going to happen, the enemy team is going to have pressure, and you're going to be taking poke damage. So is your carry. So you're going to want your shield to protect them. Now during team fights, what you're going to be doing is, let's say your backline's getting dove. Literally, you start his shield down on, well, I can't put it on him, but you just start his shield down on an ally, and you knock up the enemy, and they're good to go. And if things get really bad, just do this. But typically, you're gonna want to initiate. Now let's go back to that initiation thing, right? So when you initiate and you do this, well, I don't have my ult, and you did, let's say outside like I ulted. All right, cool. And you hit this, knock up everyone. You want to back up and check your backline to make sure they're okay. Because if they're getting dove, you can just throw a shield on them, they're Gucci, and keep healing. Or if they're fine and they killed the person who's trying to kill them, and they're good, you can go back to helping your team push and diving their team. So yeah, it's all pretty cool stuff, right? Now let's talk about the shield and how to use it. This is the big part. This is what you got to get good at. So let's say your assassin or jungler wants to go in and dive. Before they dive, you can put the shield on them, and they can have extra health, and they just can do whatever they want for that duration, and they'll probably survive. Now let's say you wait and they dive in, and they're struggling, but they're doing a lot of damage, and they're going to kill them, but they're going to die. You can throw that shield on them, and now they live. Pretty simple. Shield is great. You can save people's asses and help people aggress on other people for no reason. That's how you play Geb. Geb is broken. Geb is rock. Geb smash. Geb big friendly rock. Geb go crazy. I'm tired. Oh my god. Oh. And alright, that's it. That's the 3 gods that I think new players should pick up and use. You can pick from any of those, or you can try to learn all of them, master all of them. It's up to you, man. Whichever one you think you'd like the best. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video, obviously, so more people can watch it, share it, do all that good stuff. Comment what you think about it. If it was helpful, comment that it was helpful. And subscribe to my channel, because I will be uploading more Smite content. I'm going to have gameplays coming, little funny moments coming, and just little montages coming. I'm going to have a lot of stuff going. More guides as well. I'm going to have a guide on how to build supports, and just more in-depth guides on supports in general. and all that good stuff. You have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Peace out.